What up? What up? What up? I got something to say. You got something to say. We all got something to say on the Something to Say podcast.
Don't we
This is
all? Don't we all?
this is the Kev C right here talking. Next to me is Deuce
Don't
47.
you know what I
Down
mean?
there is Kevin, KJ, Humble Beginnings. We here.
What's
That's
going
right.
on, peoples? What's going on?
What is
Yeah,
going on, man?
these are different extended versions, of the artist in your experience. When we tap in, you know what I mean, and
I'm a little more relaxed.
speak our minds. You know what I mean?
A little
Put
more
it on
relaxed, man. A little more, might be a little bit more controversial. We're gonna
a
see
whole
how
lot more controversial. So we're gonna speak what we want to speak. There ain't no script on this one.
no,
Either
no
go
script over this one.
no
Hey,
script
hey,
on this.
speaking of that, speaking of scripts, hey, Kev, I watched your podcast from last night,
Uh
right?
huh.
And y'all were talking about change. Towards the end, y'all were talking about change, right?
Yeah, the last
And
question.
yeah, so I was listening to y'all and I'm like, y'all was saying the same thing in two different ways. Two different ways.
Yeah, all we was expressing was just the literacy of it. I think it was a little discourseful only because a couple people were doing like this super deep dive and going into like some people looking at change like a permanent thing and all this other stuff like that. And I was like, yo, listen, we just talking about the literacy of the word. Can you change? Can we change people? That's it.
Yeah, Maddie was more so. But here's the thing about it, right? It's like I understood where you and Caprice was coming from because y'all were talking more about transitional change, like the actual literal, like the literary form of change. He was talking about transformational change,
Mm-hmm.
like overall. So I was like, that's why I was like, y'all saying the same thing but two different ways because it's different types of change.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But to the audience, go watch the video, Humble Beginnings channel. What's the name? What's the title of the show?
That
Of the
show was
episode.
actuality versus reality.
Sheesh. Yeah.
Actuality versus reality, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go back and
Yeah.
check it out some more. People out what Matty B was saying. Y'all, hold on, you know what I mean? Just to go ahead and bring it up a little early, you know what I mean? Like, Matty B, you said you want to have a little controversy or a little debate. You know what I mean? I will see you on the agree or disagree show where we will debate. And you get to pick the topic too, brother, and be well versed in it. And think about your articulation. You know what I mean? If you're gonna come sit at the table with kings, we're gonna see if you can wear that crown.
Mm, 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 mm.
So we're gonna
Shots
have a
is
little quick
fired. The
debate.
shots has been fired, man.
Shots fired. You know what I mean? He ready to.
Matt know what he talking about because Matt started that last night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's ready
Matt
for it.
started that.
He engaged. You know
Man,
what I mean?
shots been fired.
I don't really back down for intellectual, you know, conversation and debates. You know what I mean? Let's see where we at in life and how we connect the dots and how much further concepts that we can take that to. I'm ready. You know what I mean? To get that debate on. So we will see him soon on agree or disagree. You know what I mean? Or to see your experience. So be prepared. We
Mm.
might have a nice debate on that. We're gonna see what it's about. I really don't even know people. Just know that your boy is well versed. And as a visionary, I'm gonna support us very well. You know what I mean? That's what we do.
Facts, actuality versus reality. It might be that. I mean, who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, what we living in?
He,
You know what I mean? We actuality, reality. What we
what
living?
we living in.
This is a dream world, you know what I mean? It's just reality. I didn't know where you at, you know what I mean? What do your bars measure up to? You know what I mean? Are you realistic? I mean, are you full go? I didn't know which one you're doing. Do you turn the neck red? I mean, the neck green. You know what I mean? Are you fools go? Are you speaking that real? You know what I mean? When I bite it itself, you know what I mean? It's kilos. You know what I mean? Food goal, you can't measure food goal. The weight is already thrown off. You know what I mean? You can't measure it. With real goal, you measure that. You know what I mean? Do it got measurable circumstances that you're gonna be spitting with? You got some weight to it? Let me know. You know what I mean? I need to know if your words got weight or they just off in space. You know what I mean? It's floating. You know what I mean? Ain't going nowhere.
So you trying to see whether it's Cuban link or not?
I need to know. You know what I mean? It probably got baguettes in it. You know what I mean? It probably got baguettes and bring down the price of it. They don't know the difference between having a pure thing and having baguettes. They like the flashiness. They don't understand purity, the purity of knowledge. So we'll see. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We'll see.
yeah. I like that. I like that. What we want to start off with, man, because we got a lot. I know I got a couple things to say. I know I
Okay.
got a couple things to say. It's look, Michael B. Jordan, bro. I feel
Uh-huh.
you. I feel you, bro. I'm with you. I get it. So if people don't know, let me
I'm
bring it.
leaving Laurie Harvey.
Let me bring it up real quick, man, for people who might not
Oh
have
yeah, him
seen
leaving
or
Laurie Harvey.
known. Michael B. Jordan and Laurie Harvey have split. They called it quits. Steve Harvey confirmed it. He confirms it. So my thing is, man, listen. A lot of these women nowadays say they want something until they get it and realize they can't handle it. That's just the facts of it. And let me ask, do age difference matter? Because they were about 10 years apart, right?
Do it just matter? I would definitely say so. I mean, I done been in a age difference relationship, so 10 years matters. Yes, especially if who's the oldest? He was
Mike,
right.
yeah.
I would assume
Age
he was.
definitely matters. Well, it don't matter who's the oldest. Age is gonna matter regardless. We talking about decades apart. You know what I mean? Two generations. Basically, you could say that. That's a well, it ain't really a generation, but you know what I mean. Like 10 years is a lot of time to be apart for. Like it's different between the 70s and 80s point of views. Then between the 80s and 90s point of views. Our standards, how we think about life. I mean, I did the lady. She was from her 70s. I was in the 80s, so it's like that was very
Culture shocking,
yeah,
right?
but at the same time, like you got normal human stuff that y'all gonna always communicate about. That's what people don't realize. You're gonna have normal life. That regardless, y'all gonna have some type of communication basis. You know what I'm saying? But I think people don't understand it ain't really about communication basis only. It's about how much you relate. You know what I'm saying in life.
Mm-hmm.
So to have that dramatic age difference, like from my experience, the relativity to be able to relate is off in a relationship. Yeah, the communication y'all can communicate very well. But to be able to relate, you know what I mean, to be able to also plan because y'all relate to the same ideas, and then think about the age thing. Um, somebody ain't never experienced getting a house. One person got a house, been through a little house struggle, right? Mortgage struggle. They don't want to buy a new house. They don't really want to, you know what I mean? Some people be doing things a little early and then they don't want to go through another experience because they might have a bad experience or something. Because you know what I mean? So the age matters. Like, you know what I mean? People have bad experiences in their travels and they might reflect on that and humble and stifle you because of their experiences. So I definitely believe age matters, man. Like,
Yeah, Kev, where you at on that?
I mean, I totally agree with what Deuce said. That's one of the things I always said too, though. Like, I mean, just to regurgitate what he said, dog. Especially when you're talking decades, like, dog. Like, usually y'all don't really link to a certain degree. Like, y'all, like how y'all grow up is literally different as well. So, I mean, I totally agree with everything Deuce said. I just think that's a bad idea personally.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I mean, yeah, it just started to feel like it don't matter what age it is at this point.
and
It
then
don't matter if she in the 20s, 30s, 40s. It don't even
that's the
matter no
thing.
more, man.
It is hard about what age, right? No matter what age, because I was about to say that too. In your own age groups, we having a lot of digressing minds. You know what I mean? Like 40s want to be 30s, 30s want to be 20s. You know what I mean? Everybody want to digress. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dang, nobody don't want to be an elder and hold wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to digress. I'm 50, I want to be 40. Like, dang, like everybody want to live backwards. Like they
But
missing out on the journey forward, you know?
but don't nobody want to progress. Like, where's the progression at a certain point? Like, you want things to be away and then not progress it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where's the okay? We starting on point A, getting to point B, C, just and going from there. But it's like, yeah, you want to already be at T for
The
what?
question is, what are they afraid? What are y'all afraid of?
That is the question. What are you afraid of?
What are you afraid of, man? Hey,
Because
why you?
here's the thing about it. Like you say, I hear, and I'm saying black women in particular, because they're the only ones saying it. You want a Russell Wilson until you get a Russell Wilson, and then realize that there's more that comes to Russell Wilson than you thought came with Russell Wilson, and you not ready for it, but won't admit it.
Hey, did they ever say why they broke up?
Oh, I don't know. Who knows? I know that the speculation was that he wanted to have more of a commitment with her, and she didn't want to.
Okay, so she looking at the wall. She thinking the wall ain't gonna come to her like a lot of women.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, she probably thought
The
that.
wall is invisible. You
Yeah,
know what I
she
mean? A lot
probably
of people
thought
don't
that
realize.
it was no point in committing at this point. I want to figure my life out. I want to do this and that and the third. But you know, she decided. He decided like this ain't gonna work.
I mean, but how do it work when they don't want to be helpmates? See, it doesn't come out too. It's like women want relationships, right? And I understand like how they might, you know, segment something guys and put them in certain categories. But at the end of the day, it's like don't you supposed to be attaching yourself to a bigger dream to work towards? So my whole thing is like people doing long term dating and putting dating qualifications. I mean, putting marriage qualifications on dating, and they want to stay in forever dating mode, and it is missing the whole point of growth in life. Like, well, this is the thing: we all got clocks, but we always talk about the woman clock, right? Why do they keep ignoring their clock? I'm confused about this too. Why are they ignoring their clock now? Before women used to be like, got a clock, time ticking, getting older. You know what I'm saying? Now they like, forget that clock. I got time. I'm like, yo, when y'all start ignoring the clock?
Because of the I guess the illusion of options. Options nowadays are more illusionary than anything else. So it's like I'm not worried about the clock because even when I get to that point, it's still going to be somebody who's going to pick me up. I've seen my older sister, or older cousin, my mom, my this thing, they still getting picked up. So I ain't worried about the clock. I got time. There's plenty of options, plenty of things to do. Plenty of guys will still want me at this age, at whatever age that is. So I got time.
But that's the
So,
illusion, right?
so
That's what I said.
I was about to say exactly what Deuce just said. I was about to say, I think that illusion itself, or that we can live forever, I think that exists in all realms. Though I think even within like the realm of like when they talk about relationships, I think people just think about that even when they look at their own personal health. Like a lot of people know they live unhealthy, but they still treat it like they're gonna live forever. So
Mm-hmm.
even people with their relationships, they treat it like I got forever and a day to keep pushing this forward, and I got plenty of time to get another one, get another one, get another one. They don't realize like, yo, you're gonna get older, you're gonna look less attractive, and all these other things anyway. They just believe that they're gonna always be what they are, sadly.
Yeah, exactly.
But they
That
miss
goes right into
the
the
point. I
whole
think
time is
people
worth
miss.
thing.
The point of it, I think, also that people are missing is that what about appreciation? You know, as things grow and get more valuable, right? Especially like your relationship be like wine, right? Relationship supposed to be like wine, right? Get better with time. So we missing all this quality time that we can devote into specific situations. Aren't we missing the appreciation that will get built in time? See, there's a lot of things that we cutting out that we missing out of they missing out of the equation. Like, yeah, you might got say like you do, yeah, I'm gonna wait till I'm this age. That's cool, but if relationships can be like wine, then don't you see that your wine is not gonna mature? You get what I'm saying? To the whole ripeness. If you starting real late, now you just got grape juice.
Well, a lot of people don't understand how to make an investment either. It's like investing in a relationship. When you invest, you have a certain amount of patience that come with it, and you have a certain amount of appreciation that comes with it. But if you just getting in relationships, just dating and not really knowing, not really even with the intent of investing in the relationship, you just putting in, you just doing stuff. Like you just thinking about getting through. You ain't worried about the time. You feel as though you're gonna waste your time. um you pick the wrong people to even invest your time with, because even all of it is an investment, to be honest. I mean, whether you with the right person or the wrong person, you still investing in time.
Yeah, but if you're gonna invest your time, at least let it turn to wine. Stop all this grape juice.
So
That's
I
what I'm
think I
saying.
think I think the problem that comes with the idea of investment for a lot of people is they don't see themselves at that placement of what we're talking about. So when a lot of times, like when we talking about watching like these relationships of the past and they grow old and we be like, yo, this is something worth having. I think the mindset is different. I think we don't see ourselves as those people. So when we look at it, we're like, man, that's just old people stuff. We young, man. We got to be different, man. We got to do it a little different right here. Don't nobody want that super tolerable. You just take whatever come with it and all that bill. We just don't see ourselves in that. You know what I'm saying? The same way when we talk about violence and things like that in America, like we just don't see ourselves. The reason why most brothers don't have an issue with laying you down is because they don't see themselves when they look at you. So we don't see ourselves in that end thing we talking about. So it's easy to just disregard it and throw it aside because it's like it doesn't reflect me, even though it does. That's the actuality versus the reality mentality. See, in actuality, this is a reflection of who you are. But your reality is so caught up in your own world that you don't even think that it reflects or have an image of you at all. No resemblance.
Yeah, resemblance. That's the word. Like people really don't think that who they choose to be with isn't a resemblance of themselves and their mentality. Who you choose to date is a direct reflection of your mentality at that time.
That's correct.
So regardless, you feel as though this person was a certain way and then they changed and then they, might have not been what you wanted them to be or not be what you thought they was going to be and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, when y'all first got together, they were a reflection of where you were at.
And I think that's another thing too. It's like, and when you see that, it's like also understanding like where you going. Like if you can look back and not see them as like, oh, there's the problem, but you get to see where you was at that moment. Like, don't look at them. See where you was at, right? They're just a reflection. Look at that, like, oh, that's where I was at, and see where your growth path can be after that. I think that when people understand growth, when you can actually look yourself in the mirror and say, you might like you said, you might use a person as a reflection, as a point of reference. Say, this is where I was at, and see where the growth path can go from there. Because like that's when you know when you got cut off people too, though. Like you with somebody like, I was this way, it was toxic, I was in a bad space, whatever like that, right? It's like you want to have a different space, then look what would be opposite of what that would be and where you want to go. And sometimes you got to end relationships because of that. They ain't gonna fit in your path on your new way of walking, man. Like I think some people also hold on to relationships. I do it. I know I used to do it a lot. Do it in friendship a lot too. So it's like holding on to relationships, holding on to people that they already did their chapter in your life. You know what I mean? A little part in their life. Like, ain't mean you got to be hard terms or, burn bridges. It just means that now that your time allocation don't need to be with them. You know what I mean? I think sometimes people cut people off the wrong way.
I think that's an easier message to sell to men than to sell to women, because then if you start doing it like that, now we got to start using things like holding yourself accountable. And we kind of know how that works when it comes to women holding themselves accountable. So it kind of might be a hard sell for women, but easier to give it to men.
And what that Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey situation is a perfect example. Like he said, he's trying to focus on something more serious. She's trying to just be in the mix. You know what I mean? Like you said, gonna be more. He thinking about accountability. Where we going? You know what I mean? She thinking about her
just what we doing.
You know what I mean?
You think about where we going. She's just thinking about what we doing.
Yeah, she just all out of space. She ain't trying to focus, home in on nothing. And that's another thing too. Why me and Dayton have a lot of problems. I'm like Michael B. I'm trying to get I'm getting things going. I'm focused. You know what I mean? It's business.
You got goals, man. It's like you have a purpose in life.
And you look for somebody who's going to assist you with these purposes too. A lot of some women just think they're just going to be around. It's like, nah, you got to have the role to play in this relationship. It ain't just you be in the relationship. And I see a lot of people like that too. Like, they just want to be in a relationship, but they don't want to do what it takes to maintain the situation.
Well, they self-sabotage the relationship because a lot of times I see it plenty of times. And it's like, you want a mature man until you get with a mature man and he makes you realize how immature you are. It's a difference in dynamics because women are used to being the mature one out the bunch. It grew up, girls are more mature than boys. It grew up with that. It grew up with women being more mature than guys. until you meet a mature man, and then and then you realize the dynamics have changed, and now you got to grow up, and you're not ready for that.
But
It's
how's the world defining this maturity? You know, when they say women are more mature, how are we really defining this maturity?
I mean, part of it is education.
But that don't make you, just because you're educated, don't make you smart.
Maturity touches into a lot of different ways, man. It ain't. I think when they be talking about women mature faster than men, I think they be homing in just one particular area. I don't think they be
That's
looking
what
at
I'm
it
trying to
from
figure out. What
overall
is
view.
this area of maturity that they homing in on?
I
Like,
agree.
don't act like you are mature in totality. Tell me what you mature about. What are we talking about as far as maturity? You didn't
But that's the perception, is that they are mature in totality, and
because
that's
I
where
mean, a lot of women who can't handle a household broke as day, bills barely making it. You dig what I'm saying? But just because they got their own, they think they doing something. I'm like, yo, you got your own, but you struggling. So it's like, do you really know what you're doing in this situation if you're struggling? If you know something, do you struggle in it? You dig what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, if you know something, you know how something works, then you know how to move accordingly. So if you're struggling in something that you say you know, then you don't know it. Dig what I'm saying? Like, you can't say, oh, I know math and can't pass a test. You know what I'm saying? I know I was seeing a lot of people saying, I know this, I'm this way, I'm this mature, but they can't pass that test in which they saying they're mature about. Oh, I'm a great parent, but then you can't raise your kids. How you a great parent?
Yes, a lot of parents in this graduation season, I'm seeing you taking credit for shots that you wasn't with them shooting in the gym. Like, you wasn't. Last time you seen a homework assignment was in first grade, and you at graduation getting pats on the back for being a great parent.
Yeah,
and loving it.
Ain't help out with no homework since elementary school.
They didn't know nothing of what the child was doing throughout school. I saw a story about that. I can't remember what that story was, but the kid didn't graduate, and the mom got upset with the school because the school wasn't they didn't graduate him, and he was failing for like 2 years, almost 2 years, and she was like, I was unaware of it. So people was like, how were you unaware of it? You the one supposed to be aware of that. Why are you mad at the school because your child didn't graduate and they was failing, and you said you was unaware of it, and then say, I was working and I had 2 jobs, and who cares? I don't care. I don't care what you got going on. They depend on you regardless. It is your job to figure it out. So I'm like, I ain't trying to hear all that, man. But yeah, she got backlash for it. She got backlash for it because she was like, yo, you can't blame the school because you weren't paying attention to your own child.
Hey, would y'all say that a person who got the view of I only got one life to live, or or they live almost like every day they last, they really got a limited foresight, limited vision?
In a way, I mean, I don't believe like when we started talking about things about purpose, I don't believe that everybody's life is just so purposeful. I think it's an assumption that being made that just because there are some people who push for certain things that everybody should be doing it. Like I always say, we love having conversations about people moving as a monolith, but then we have no goddamn respect when people just do things differently. Like, dude, I don't believe that everybody has to have a purposeful life. So I wouldn't say that it's limited. I would say, no, that person is capturing that little bit of what the fuck their life was. I don't believe everybody's life is purposeful. So I wouldn't say that it's limited. No, not at all.
Yo,
we make an assumption.
Great. You say that like everybody's life don't have a purpose. But what about the people who don't know their purpose, right? And they didn't want to test themselves to people with purpose. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
people do that.
Like enablers. They don't realize they're enablers. Would you call them an enabler at the end of the day?
An enabler?
Yeah.
Of the person with purpose?
Yeah, you trying to test somebody with purpose. You don't have a purpose. You're trying to test somebody with purpose.
Well, I wouldn't call that an enabler.
I would call him a leech. I would call him a leech, but I wouldn't call him an enabler.
So that's the ball and chain right there.
Yeah. I would say they the leech.
The reason I
Yeah,
bring it up is
I would
I
agree.
see a lot. You ever ask people like what you into life, and you start going to these questions like, be on a date. You're like, yo, what you into? And they're like, I don't got no hobbies. I don't really know. I'm like, yo, you have. So that
That's why
means
I said. That's
you're
exactly
gonna be a
why I
ball
say
of
what
chain
I
to me.
say.
That's why I was like, I don't really trying to like say like everybody had his ultimate purpose, but everybody has some definition to their life. You get what I'm saying? As to certain degree to define you. If
Hey,
you,
bum is a sufficient title now.
mm,
You got to. That's why I keep saying we make
I
the
like that.
assumption that this person has to have something greater. No, because a successor and then a failure is a place to be as well. So you as a
mm,
failure is destined too. It ain't
yeah,
always something great out there now. And some people, like, you got to think about it. We talk yin and yang. We talk about
Mm-hmm.
balance. Well, in order to have balance, if we got successful people, that means on the other hand, we got to have what? Some fucking failures. So
I
some
mean,
people have to do it.
hey, even the
They
Bible
got to.
says, yo, even the Bible said that though. You know what I
They
mean?
got
Like,
to do it.
I'll
I'm
always be
sorry.
poor people. People think even when certain things get a certain way, like the Bible said, will always be poor people. I'll be looking at stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yo, everybody think there's gonna be this paradise living, and I understand the world being a paradise, earth and air, and I understand this. I feel like earth is a paradise now, and we mess it up, right? I feel like we already live in paradise. You got what I'm saying? I feel like we, to a certain degree, this is heaven. We just don't. Not everybody's gonna live, be a blissful life. Well, it's gonna be blissful because
Nigga
ignorance
say,
is bliss.
yo,
So,
Ignorant. I was
Peter.
about to say that ignorance is bliss.
yeah, so it's still gonna be blissful. So I gotta say, yo, even it's like, yo, this is the might as well say almost just the perfect world. Then, if ignorance is bliss and a complication, I mean, accomplishments is bliss. If all this is bliss, then this got to be heaven. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, man.
it's
Yo,
just
Peter, direct them to the bronze section, man. They ain't living in the gold. We got different sections. We got a silver section and a bronze section. They belong in the bronze section.
No, they don't belong in the bronze section at all. It's another section. They just give you certificates. You
yeah.
don't even get a medal.
But then that comes to this whole lifestyle we got right now, where we got classisms and racisms, and you know what I'm saying? Like, we can see that, okay, then we gonna always have different pockets of life, different boxes of life that we might complain and want to fight for this perfect world, but not everybody gonna, like Kevin said, gonna sit in that same box. And look, I like this quote I heard a long time ago, just to watch it. A slave master never gonna tell a slave never told a slave master what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
can't tell them where to go. So you ain't in that box. But until you get out that slave mind, right? Then you can go to another box. And I think some people don't understand they box their mind and also put them in a box where their life gonna be at. And then that puts you in your how can I say, demeanor, how people treat you. You know what I mean? Like, people always treated me different than some of my peers because they say I was articulate and got certain intellectual proudnesses. You know what I mean? So they treated me different, and then some of my people like, yo, why they treat you different? They treat me different because of who I am. But at the same time, you can see that in the whole, like, they just gonna treat you like you the box they see you in. People see you in boxes too. So like,
It's just like when the other show when we were talking about slavery being a choice, right?
mm,
And people can say, well, I wouldn't have been a slave. I would have did this, I would have did that. You know what I'm saying? I would have fought, I would have. But I'm like, but why are you saying that like you're not that now?
yeah, because
And
indentured servitude.
then,
You know what it is? Because they like how they romanticize the thought. They change the word to indentured servitude, right? And because they changed the word, it feel like they ain't the same thing.
well, even what we just finished talking about, as far as like Kev talking about balance, even to a certain degree, like, what if some of the slaves just knew that that was their life?
Oh yeah, that's definitely what the case was.
A lot
And
of them did.
they just accepted, like, yo,
Yeah, that's
this is
definitely
my
what
That's
the
why
purpose
they
case
right
out
was.
now.
there. That's why they've been slaves their whole life. They knew that was
Yeah.
their life. Like,
Mm.
that's why I say, if you know something ain't your life, you do everything to change it, or you die changing it because that's just the path. Either the path is change or no change, right? That's why I say, like, either you're gonna be that or you're not gonna be. There ain't really no I think people think it's a lot of and that's when we go, especially when we get into the gray area on my show, right? It's like a lot of people think it's a lot of gray area in life. Um, it's really not a lot of gray area. It's just a lot
It
of
really ain't.
it ain't. It's just like
Yeah.
people think it's gray area because other people decisions. Like because so like me and Kev had something, me and KJ had something we were talking about. He might say no about it. I might say yes about it. And because we just made definite yays and nays, right? We might in between us, we want to make it that gray area.
Well,
Right? Hey,
we create gray areas with
great.
our sense of realities.
Yeah, your blacks, your whites, we
And
didn't
it's
start
like
blurring together.
that's why I like, actuality. That's why I like the reality versus actuality. But it's like things are much more black and white than people try to make it.
Yes, they are. Yes, they
Mhm.
are.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I see the world is very black and white, but we
I
try to
see the
create
same way.
we try to create a society of just gray area, and that's why the show gonna be important because it's like this is a whole society full of gray area, and people feel as though the gray area is the black and white.
Yeah,
Well,
because it's because
it's the standard.
like what Kev was talking about on this show is the actuality and reality. You know what I mean? Like the gray area is big boned. No, black and white is you fat.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
you want to
black
try to
and
measure
white.
your bones, something we can't see. You know what I mean? Like, ain't no such thing as big bones.
But the truth is black and white, and people run from that and
Yeah,
run to the gray area.
right. That's right. That's why I was like, people always want to, you know, do this hyperboles on life in this gray area. They can't face the reality of I'm fat. You know what I'm saying? Like, you big bones. No. Ain't no such thing as big bones. If you pass away, we measure your bones, it would be like everybody else. You know
And
what I
then if
mean?
we
Not like
talking
you
bone,
got
if we talking bone density, the bone density is only it would be greater in the men, not the women. So why she big?
that.
If we talking big bone, the
If we talk,
density is not going to be as heavy as that as within men.
you know what I mean? Like it, but that what it is though. It's the gray area. You know what I mean? Like we live in these hyperboles of life and how we talk because we don't want to face facts.
I mean, we over sensationalize stuff a lot, and then put hyper focuses on things that really don't need a hyper focus. It can really be just as simple as A or B.
Mm-hmm.
It can.
You know, that's how they go. Matter of fact, A or B talking about distance. Gas prices going super high. You think what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, it is,
live.
man.
They already calling out here in the South. You know, hey, I already know some of them people already facing $10. We here in the South. Gas about to hit 5. That about to hit people hard down
You
here.
ain't lying.
Like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, I was just talking to somebody the other day. It's like, yeah, I paid for some hamburger. Yo, it cost me $20. I'm like, what? You paid for
For a hamburger?
yeah, at the store, like raw.
Like the pack
Ready
Oh,
to cook.
hamburger
okay.
meat. Yeah, the hamburger
Oh,
meat.
okay. I got
You know what I mean? Like,
you. Like, dang, you could at least put cheese on that joint. You said $20 on a hamburger?
but imagine, whoa, you paying $20 for
Oh,
uncooked burger.
man. Don't get a
For
deluxe.
uncooked burger. Yeah, you ain't even cooked it
Still,
yet.
think
That's
about it,
gonna
that's
cost.
uncooked. You paying, you know what I mean? Like, wow, like prices really going up. People about to really be facing something. And me and KJ was kind of like talking earlier. It was like I think people are unaware about the responsibilities they got to put on their own life. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to take responsibility. Like prices going up, and you probably can't do things like you used to do. But everybody want to keep up with the Joneses, man. Like them Joneses are hurting people. The internet's hurting people, and the Joneses are hurting people, and people are not realizing they're not changing it. And the reason I'm probably going to speak the most, black people are not changing their lifestyles. They're not coming independent or nothing. And then I'm like, yo, life gonna cost too much for you to even go to the store. You want to learn how to grow some of your food? You know what I mean? I
Mm.
understand that, yeah, you don't want to grow a whole farm. You know what I'm saying? I understand. You still gonna go to the grocery store, but you need to have a balance now. Like nobody want to have balances in life. And I think because nobody gonna issue these balances on this inflation that's coming up in life, they about to go through a world of hurt. They're gonna need a
Well,
lot
that's
of hope. You know what I
well,
mean?
that's why I had made that video about um narcissism and inflation to a certain degree, how they can correlate. Because even your high sense of value on yourself is going to raise the prices. because you, like I said, like I just said, over sensationalize and then over consume based off of what you think your value is, not realizing what your actual value is and what the actual valuation of everything else is. So then you overconsume, you think that you're making more than you really are, and then you jacking the prices up, buying things and killing the supply and demand, and then get to a point where everything is inflated because your sense of pride and ego is inflated.
Mm-hmm.
And now you at a certain point where it's like, man, then the actuality kicks in, because all that you was in reality at that one point.
And
Now
this
then
is
the
another,
actuality kicks in.
and this is another thing I know that a lot of black people don't see. When you live above your means, right, you really cost the price of going up on inflation because you spending money that you telling them that you got.
Mm-hmm.
So they think your prices can rise. You don't have it. Stop
Mm-hmm.
faking the funk so they can see what reality is.
Yeah, so they can
Like,
actually
yo,
see where everything is.
yeah, you making people raise the prices. You want to fake the funk on life. Stop faking this funk, man. Stop playing this fool's gold game. Cause like it hurting, look, it hurting them. I see it all the time. It's people I know, they want to go do things like other people. And because they want to do all that, they not being real with themselves, they getting deeper and deeper into the hole, and they be having a tug of war on life.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel like they back against the wall because they want to live like others, right? They want to face reality. Now they having a tug of war on life. It's like, nah, you got to let all that.
Listen, it's
You
like
got to let
when
the
you,
ambiance go.
yeah, it's like when you
Real,
go on
real.
Instagram and all that for the past few years. People had the money phones, and then people go on vacation, showing their vacation pics all the time, and it gives off the illusion that you got more than what you really have.
And you know what though, too? People don't realize, you know why you have more money? Because your money has devalued, which means more denominations of it. So you think you're richer because you got more of it, but you don't realize your dollar is worth less than a dollar.
Mm.
Because when you don't realize that, you think you have all this money as having money. When you don't realize like every dollar you got is actually 50 cents. So like really your dollar ain't a dollar. It look good. Bunch of paper look good, but is it worth that? And we already know a dollar is not worth a dollar. People don't understand that. And that's another reason like when I had kind of like realized a dollar wasn't a dollar. And then I started looking at other countries, right? And I'm like, hold on, but if our dollar is worth more than them and our dollar is falling, then what is the prices over there?
Mm-hmm.
That triggers something in my mind to say, why should I not live like a king and have multiple ownership over the world, all over the world? Why shouldn't I have property in Africa? Why shouldn't I have property in China? Why shouldn't I have property in Europe? I mean, well, I don't really want it in Europe right now because it's super overinflated. I don't really care about that part. Well, I still probably get something there. Why shouldn't I have the property in different places if I can really think like a king and have different visiting vacation spots? You know what I mean? Like, I was like thinking about the world of traveling, man. I think like, yo, most people have a limited view on life. And like I started telling like certain people, like, I think I'm gonna pick up property in other countries. And like, why? And I was like, yo, why are you limited to why are you limited to the America only? Why you can't think outside the diaspora of America? Ain't saying you got to go live there, but you can own property all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then people say, I want to get into the real estate game, right? But then if I tell you that you can go to Africa and you might not have enough money to start in America, but you got enough money to start your real estate game in Africa, build up over there, come buy some property in America. You think what I'm saying? Like expand the whole the broadness of the mind. You might don't have enough money to start here, but you can go over here and start. If you really want to get into a game or something, or get into a certain career field, I don't think we brought enough, and I think we very minute on how America doesn't teach us to be very narrow minded. You know what I mean? We don't have that broader view of, oh, I can do this and just so I can have more opportunity to do more of my comforts in my life or have more comfort.
And that's what I was just about to ask. Like, where I know as kids we have an imaginary mind.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you feel as though people start to limit their thoughts and potential?
Um, it really depends on the parent. You know what I'm saying? If the parent off the gate never back their kid up with uh strong beliefs potential, then that child will never have that strong belief potential. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't enforced. It wasn't reinforced. Other than that, it would go to the first time that you start meeting your combatants, how much that affected you. And that still go back to the parenting to me, because they ain't give you a strong belief, right? And that means that when other people say things that don't go with what you're trying to do, then you fret, then that goes back to the parent not give you a strong belief system in yourself. You can't fret off at what everything and everybody say. Some things might be true, like that don't rock and need to be changed so you can get better. But I think it starts early. I think it starts from day one. Like I tell my little nephew right now, you don't know what I'm saying, but I make sure I give him strong affirmations
Mm-hmm.
early. You know what I'm saying? Like it gonna program in his mind. He gonna have it cultivated in him. Like I can do almost whatever I put my mind to, as long as I learn the right way to do it. And that's why I have to make sure I like, yo, you can do whatever you want to do, but you still got to learn the right way to do it. You can't do whatever you want to do and do it the wrong way. Consequences come from this. Consequences come from anything. So you can't say I'm gonna do whatever I want to do and then your butt be in jail. You can't. You gonna be a millionaire. I want you to believe you can be a millionaire, but I don't want you to go rob a bank to be a millionaire. You think what I'm saying? Like it's about
Mm-hmm.
how you train them up. Like you know, it's all about. I think it starts from day one. It's all about affirmations. The household you come from, the environment you come from.
Yeah, I think it's like, at what point does the fear become stronger than belief? And then, I think as adults, we start to accumulate so much fear throughout the years, because we pay attention to the details of things more. So we accumulate fear along the way, which starts to limit what we feel our potential can be.
Until you realize that fear is false evidence appearing real, I don't think you understand. Once you get that in your mind, you start breaking fears. Until you put a person that want to fight fears, right? Face your fears. Face the person in the mirror and all that. Until you tell a person that you actually are combative with your internal and you decide that you're gonna be successful internally, you face fears. It's hard to look. People gonna have fears till they're 50, but like it's just about courage, man. You know what I mean? It's about like Wizard of Oz, name the line over here, right? Like it's about courage, man. Like life is about courage. At some point, like you got to be can't be scared to fail.
Yeah, they're lying over there looking like, yo, you need to shout me out. Like, I've been sitting over here for a while. You ain't shouting me out in a
Yeah, I ain't
minute.
shut my line out yet.
You
I need
ain't
to get
shot your line out at all.
at all. You know what I mean? That's who he is. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Kings.
Kev should know more about, talking about fear, because I'm pretty sure you well versed on that, just in martial arts.
So like Deuce was saying, I think all of this starts in our beginnings. I think that
Humble beginning.
whatever it is that, like, if you fundamentally get that foundation built in you from the beginning, then when you start going through things and you start meeting, like, these adverse or diverse situations, if you got a good ground, then being able to navigate through it is a lot easier. I think if you don't have that groundwork, I think that's when it becomes a lot more difficult. And then as far as fear, I mean, it doesn't really take much to trigger a fear in person, because fear is so innate. So really, like, you can have somebody be pretty solid, but then they can cross something and then it became that damaging to them, and now they have that fear to them. Now, the biggest thing is teaching them how to overcome it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see it with guys all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see guys who are like super brave, super skillful, get out there in the ring on the mat and they go at it, and then all it takes is for you to get your jaw broke. And then when you get your jaw broke, you notice that once he healed up, he approaches that a lot more scarier than what it was. And it's a natural thing. Like, he'll somebody swing at him, he'll naturally turn away, not even realizing that he's doing it, because his body is so like, yo, I remember this happening. and I don't want this to happen again. So he'll naturally ball up. He'll turn away from it, and it's a natural thing because he has to now overcome to get back to where he was before that wasn't a thing. So sometimes
You said something like that though.
yeah.
You like when we talked before, like you was like, yo, man, remember you telling me about instincts? You was like, yo, that's why we developed instinct. And my whole thing is hearing you saying that, like some people get natural fears, right? It's like, well, then you need to inquire instincts that you see will become basic instincts, right? Based upon that fear that you already know you have. So develop things that become an instinct that when that happens, right? You know how to
Fear is an instinct as well, though.
But don't you tell them how to use it?
Well, what you do, what you're trying to do is you try to tell people how to make the best out of that instinct. So that's why I said the biggest battle would be how to make you use it in a positive fashion. Like how to because fear can do two things, right? It could either build you stronger, make you want to go forward and build in something, or it can make you shadow and cower out. Like I always use the example. I got the same exact fears as the next man. The only difference is I choose to go through years of training and accumulating black belts. I tend to do tactical training and stuff like that. So even if we talk gun talk, no, I just happen to be a brother who can shoot because I spend a lot of time at the range. That doesn't mean I'm less fearful than you, though. I'm just as fearful as you. I just choose to build my luck more in my favor because in everything in the world we're talking about is luck. A lot of people like to give credit to many things, but a lot of it's just luck. And when you build things within your favor, you just simply building the odds to play more within your favor, which then typically takes you away from I'm not as fearful because I know I've took the time to build the odds more in my favor.
Mm-hmm. I understand that because in an investment world, or in the business world, we kind of like got this little thought, or I guess you can say theory of pain equals lessons learned, but self-education avoids pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? It's like you're gonna get pain anytime you go through something, right? Pain, you're gonna learn a lesson from it. So they're gonna equal a lesson. But the more you educate yourself, you can avoid certain pains, right? Because you know it's the power of knowing. You get what I'm saying? Like ignorance
It's the
actually
power of knowledge.
hurt. Yeah, it's the power of knowledge. It's like you don't know what hurt is not hurting you until you know. Right? So if you educate yourself about knowing, you're like, oh, I'm not doing that. That hurts. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna spend my money here. That's waste. You start making different moves because you self-educated. Not to tell people natural education is for quick it's just to be able to move in life, but to actually be able to prosper, you got to self-educate. You know what I mean? And it's like you got that fear. You get fear. To me, when I get fear, then that means I need to educate myself a little more. You know what I mean? Like I might have an unnecessary fear because the lack of knowledge of the unknown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not tell people too. Fear is a lot of fears in the unknown. So it's like I ask myself, why do I have fear? It's because of the lack of the unknown. You know what I'm saying? That means I need to self-educate myself so I can replace this fear. And that, even when it comes to fighting and all that, it's like, yo, why would somebody have a fear of fighting? Because you might don't know how to defend yourself.
Oh, because you can actually die.
Yeah, with that too. You know what I mean? Like,
I
but
think
a
people
fighter
need to
who know how to
understand
fight
that a
though
lot
has
more.
more confidence in fighting though, right? To a certain degree.
I don't think they should.
But because you feel like it's an ego thing.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it should. I think when we talk in the realm of that, I think as black people, and I always say this, I think because we experience so much violence that we look at something as a fight, we take that as something super light. That's why I brought in the part that people can die. That's why when white people approach it and they look at things like that Will Smith slap, they're taken back like, yo, that's super gregarious because there shouldn't be a physical assault at all. We just used to seeing niggas do worse.
Word of the day, gregarious.
So because we
Gregarious. The hell does that mean? Gregarious. I don't even know what that means. It flew past me so fast. I was just like,
we got something to say. New word of the day. Gregarious.
hey, you know the words when you be at the gas station, you wait on your gas and it show a word like word
I
of
know
the
you're
day.
talking about.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about.
Shit right there. Look, that just shows why we are very articulate. We got hidden words in the stash that we can pull out.
Ain't lying, man.
You know what I mean? That can affect your mind, like gregarious. That's funny.
But that kind of goes. I mean, because I remember it was an earlier episode you had, Kev, where I think the question, I forgot exactly what the question was, but it was about what makes us different or unique or something like that as people
Mhm.
or humans or something like. So
That was on the
just the,
appreciation show.
yeah, so the power of we kind of just alluded to it, just the power of being able to attain wisdom and apply it.
Yeah, application is key. You know, like people act like having knowledge is the best thing in the world. Having too much knowledge can run you crazy. It can literally make you insane. Because if you have no application, uh, you can. I understand now why a lot of geniuses go crazy or seen as weird or looked at as weird. It's because you have so much
Yeah.
knowledge. Sometimes it
Knowing too
traps
much,
you. It can
knowing
find your
too
world.
much can ruin a person.
Yeah, too much of anything can ruin a person. And then I listen here. I'd have been in where I'm acquiring so much information. I done cut off the world that I done got to a depressed state because I cut off communication. And then you go into your little wormhole. You know what I mean? You deep down a rabbit hole. You days in, you don't realize that you started cutting off some of your human qualities of communication that you need, right? Just to function. And you get into a lot in the world, and you feel like you don't relate to nothing because you're so deep into something. And then that relativity distance you from the world, cause separation, cause depression. You know what I mean? Like I would tell anybody when you educating yourself and you diving deep into something, you always got to have people that you communicate with and stay grounded with because your mind is so powerful. You don't even know when you're going through depression until somebody tell you you're depressed because you might not even want to face it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
Like you ever
mhm,
saw people like, oh man, you going through depression and they don't even know it. Like people who got PTSD and don't know it. Do you know what I'm
mhm.
saying? Like, oh, you got PTSD. They don't even know.
I mean, knowledge can be very depressing because people can be peaceful until they know something, and then it destroy their whole world.
True.
That's why you had the whole killing the whole messenger thing. Like one of the reasons why the messenger would get killed is because that king could have been over there just a chilling, they partying, we eating the bestest lamb and everything. And then here you go telling me about they approaching us from the north. Now we got to shift this whole party mentality, and now we got to go get ready for war. Now I'm
Mhm.
mad at you, so I killed the messenger because you literally shifted the whole dynamic of what we was doing right here. You changed our whole placement.
Yeah, sometimes not
Damn.
knowing.
That was just powerful. Just I ain't never thought about that. Anybody who believe in Jesus, listen to what he just said. Lord.
Yeah, yeah, that kill the messenger is uh, definitely a thing though.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now we have an illusion of knowledge though. I think that people have this. It looks like people know more than they really do. People look like they have knowledge when really they just have knowledge of knowing where to find the knowledge to make it seem like they have the knowledge. It's like if you go online
I get what you're saying.
and you can have a debate and you'll debate somebody who you think they very knowledgeable, not knowing that they just know how to go to Google and make it seem like they known it the whole time.
Mm.
Even Google give people an illusion. Like we could be saying something simple about a definition, and you can go to look up a word, and Google will tell you something. You can be like, "Hold up, that ain't what that word mean." Like, you be like, "Hold up, let me get a dictionary because that is not what that is."
I understand how Google can get like you said, inflate people base of knowledge. You feel like you know stuff, you feel like you smarter now, but then you really can't add. You need a calculator. You get what I'm saying? Like I be thinking about stuff like that. Like when people are like, yo, man, like you so smart, but you can't add.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You start going into 4-digit numbers, your mind discombobulated. And I always, you know what I mean? Like I always do
But
that
it
sometimes.
goes into comprehension.
But I do that people when it come to money. Like, hey man, like, dang, 125,000, you know what I mean? That gonna cost that. Hey, what do you think about that price? I do a big old inflated number, right? If you can't see those numbers in your mind, I know you can't play with these numbers. It's too big. It's too big. It's too much outside of your diaspora thinking. You know what I mean? That's why I tell people sometimes only reason you make $100 a week is because you can't think past $100, past the hundreds. How many figures can you actually see and count and deal with? You know what I'm saying? If you're not dealing with these things mentally, how can you manifest? You know what I'm saying? Like I thought everything is manifested from
yeah. What do y'all think about manifestation? Is it really something that's just a trend right now? What is manifestation at this point? When people talk about manifestation,
You talking about like how people choosing to view manifestation?
yeah.
I don't know how people are
People,
choosing to
I'm
view
feel like this.
manifestation.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm going extreme with it.
Go ahead.
Manifest like they do God. You know what I mean? Like people think they're going to heaven, man. Going to heaven. You know what I mean? People believe all kinds of people think like, yo, it is a such thing as a God, but people think Almighty God is a human being in the sky. Like he just like us, right? But he out there. Like the elements don't even presume themselves to be like that. So my whole thing is manifestation is everything is a thought. That's why I tell people like manifestation is real. Everything you see is a manifestation. Computer is a manifestation. Your cell phone is a manifestation. Food you eat is a manifestation because you had to plant it to be a seed to grow to be. You manifest that work. I just think people apply stuff without. I think people apply manifestation without effort. It's like faith without works is dead. It's like manifestation without works is dead, man. Like
that's what I was gonna go into. I was gonna say that as I start back, I was like, well, people today view manifestation as just believing in it, but manifestation is actually the work. Like manifesting is the work itself.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was gonna say. I think that the work is actually the actual manifestation, but the reality for a lot of people, they think that as long as they believe it, it's manifesting.
And the thing is, people gotta understand
That's why I asked that question.
Right? Yeah, manifestos, right? It's the things you do.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
what I'm
things
saying.
the
It's the work.
community do. So people don't realize manifest don't mean you thinking and you're gonna alter it. It's you taking that thought and you applying action.
Yep.
That's what manifestation is. Manifestation is not the preconceived thought. That's called foresight, vision, premonitions. You think what I'm saying?
Or daydream or fantasy, depending on depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, I tell people you in the realm of thought and you think that is manifestation. The realm of thought is not manifestation. The realm of action is manifestation.
I think a lot of people just wishful thinking and think that it's manifestation.
Yeah,
I agree. A lot of people like that.
Because that's why I asked that question when you was like it's the action. Because I keep hearing the manifestation come up a lot from a lot of people lately. But I look when they say that and I'm like, so what are you doing though? Like I hear you talking about it.
You know what I think it is too? People trying to give people alphabations, right? So my whole thing is you switching. You hear people saying, think positive about it, focus on it. And you hear all these, YouTube things. That is to get your mind right.
Okay.
People taking that, the motivation in that, and think motivation is manifestation. No, that was just somebody motivating you. You know what I'm saying? Like they trying to get you in the realm of thought so you can stay focused long enough to get that task done. You dig what I'm saying? It's like if you can't focus on a task, you can't get it done. So they're trying to at least make you think about it more frequently, so you have the desire to get it done. And that's what people don't understand. Really, you just listen over so you can build up desire. Build up desire. That's all you're really doing. Listen to them things. You building up desire, and people be building up these false desires. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this, and never act.
Because people see an affirmation as a confirmation.
Yeah, affirmations are not confirmations.
It's still a work in between there.
Like this is the thing. It confirms a thought. Like let me put it like this: the confirmation that a car works is when you crank it up. It works. I didn't say it's drivable, but it works. Right?
You still gotta crank it
Also
up.
put engines out, right? Because they just want to see the engine work. So they go test the engine, right? They say, oh, this works, and go in the car. Like confirmation is when something works, something done played out, like it's confirmed. You know what I mean? Like, is this food good? Somebody got to taste that to confirm it.
Yeah.
So it's already really the confirmation is already something that's done that somebody is acknowledging. So if it ain't done yet, how can it be acknowledged? Then how can it be confirmed?
Yeah, I think the affirmation is what leads you into it, and then confirming would be after it happens. Like if like with the example you gave, like the affirmation would be like, yo, this food gonna be good. All right, go ahead and check it out. Now they already go ahead and put it on. They already go ahead and put it there before you even taste it. Then now once you taste it, then you confirm it like, yo, this is dope. This is good. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, but
it's kind of premature.
Yeah, that's why I was saying people would confirm it with the affirmation, like because you said it was gonna be good, it's good.
Yeah.
Because you said I was gonna be rich, I'm gonna be rich.
Yeah, man, I don't work like that. I don't work like that at all. That is not gonna get you nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, I understand people support people. You know what I mean? Like, and my whole thing is like, you can't really support something you don't know, man. To a certain degree, it's like, I know that y'all are great communicators because I don't see y'all communicate. I can confirm that from past experiences. Like, I don't think people look for confirmations of even how to go further in life. Like, think about it. Somebody acknowledge something that you've done, and people want to take them skills and actually build them. Like, I see people like that all the time when it comes to business. I'm like, hey, man, you good at this. They're like, I don't want to do that. But I'm like, yo, this is what you do naturally. Like, you getting confirmations, but you deny your confirmations. You know what I'm saying? But then want to pick up shit that don't confirm nothing. You know what I mean? Keep listening to a bunch of false dead ends. I been trying to understand why people like banging their head against walls. But when somebody try to really tell you a path that fits you, you don't want to listen. It's like, man, we talk about willing slaves, man. People are willing just not to know. Like, people don't want to know things more than
easier to not know.
That's why they say ignorance is bliss, because it's a lot easier to just not know.
It's easier nowadays to not know and find somebody who do know and just attach yourself to that person.
And that's why I was going back to the earlier about the ball and chains, man. Like, your purpose is this. That's why I said my purpose and defining it, right? Because you choosing not to know a lot of things. Like, everybody don't have to have a maximum purpose in life and live to be this king or this person of renown or whatever, right? But my whole thing is, you need to have some type of purpose because ignorance is bliss, and you don't need to be somebody ball and chain. And it's really the lack of wanting to know yourself. So that's another thing. How you gonna expect me to get to know you if you don't know who the hell you is?
And the internet, of course, has made that worse because now it's easier to just leech on to something somebody else said or a belief or an idea somebody else had without having to do any due diligence on your own.
At all.
A lot in the kids, they just mimic other.
Shit, you see a lot in adults.
True.
A lot
the
of
kids
adults
follow
doing
the
it now.
adults do it. The kids follow the adults. The adults is following the kids now.
Yeah, it is like that.
You said the adults is definitely following the kids. I watch the kids run households.
Yeah, pretty
I'm
much.
like, yo, the kids. I ain't never see kids have so much adult privileges in my life. I'm like, yo, when the kids become adults, they get to have the adults' decision. They get to say yes and no. They knows yes and no's mean more than the parents. You pay everybody pay that attention. I watch a kid. They yes and no's mean more, have more weight than the parents yes and no.
Yeah,
and I try to figure out who is leading who.
Yeah, pretty much. The kids will dictate what the parents are doing.
Quick example.
To a certain degree. Just on even in leisure time.
Back in the day, I don't know if y'all had to attend church. You couldn't tell your mama I don't want to go to church. You couldn't tell my mama I don't want to go to church.
You couldn't tell your parents that you ain't want to eat.
Yeah,
hey, I don't want this.
That was a thing too.
That was
bigger with my dad. You couldn't tell my dad you didn't want to eat something that came on the table.
Oh, and then it was prepared, right? Somebody else prepared it for you to eat.
And you
I
say you
don't
don't
want
want
that.
it?
I done
you
seen
ain't been
kids
doing
tell
that.
parents, I don't want that, and make their parents go buy them something to eat. And the parents go do it. And I'm like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, Mama Deuce would have say, you don't want that. Guess what? You ain't gonna eat tonight. And next time you go to my refrigerator, you need to come talk to me about what you want, and I'm gonna decide what you want out of that. You know what I'm saying? You can just start saying what you don't want.
Yeah,
You
you
work
buy
for
the
nothing here.
food, make the food, prepare the food, and then they tell you they don't want it.
You don't want
Yeah,
it.
one of my daughters do that all the time. She loves saying that she don't want something, but I'm always like, yo, starving is always an option. I don't care if you eat or not.
My-
But I
I did that
know
with my son because
I
he was
just be
like,
like,
"Yeah, I
yo,
don't
you
want
won't
that."
eat nothing else in this house until you do eat this. I tell you that. So you ain't gotta eat it, but you won't eat nothing else in here.
Yeah, my son did that one time. He like, "I don't want that." I was like, "So what you gonna eat?" He said, he started giving out these options, and I was like, "Yeah, I got it in the fridge, but I ain't about to make it. You gonna eat what I already made. So what you gonna do?" Then that's where we were talking about the fatherhood thing. When we, as a father, you make your child make decisions. You're like, I ain't never thought about this before. You had to sit there for a second, like, so what am I gonna eat? Like, you gotta make a choice now.
There's a lot of
So
teaching.
it's like you sit down. I'm like, okay, you eat.
There's a lot of teaching that come out of that though. Not being
Uh-huh.
wasteful. You get what I'm saying? Like I be looking at the parents like, so y'all didn't see no teaching points about waste. You know what I mean? About when they say they
Yeah,
want to go buy
because
something to eat, about money cost, the cost of
look,
money, how money works.
my
Like these
mom
are
used to
teaching
tell
points.
me I had to finish everything on the plate because anything that was left, the kids in Africa could have ate it. So it's not don't waste no food because what you leave is what other kids in Africa would want.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, I guess I got to eat the rest of this food.
Yo, hold on. When did the time come where you can get up without finishing your plate? Like, it's another thing not to want the food, but it was another
Mhm.
thing to not even finish the plate.
Yeah, it was times I slept at the table
Yeah,
until I
that
finished eating.
I heavily do that with my kids now. I be like, yo, why is you up? But the break out that habit, I started because my daughters like doing that because they're younger. I started, if I come through there and you away, I throw it in the trash. So now you
And
can't eat at all. Now you gotta wait till the next time we come across a meal before you can eat. That's what I do for real. Like if this lunchtime we in, and I hear you playing, I'm like, damn, they just said that food. I literally go in there, I throw that shit right in the trash. You be like, you hungry? I say, hey, well, dinner coming back around. You missed this meal because you wanted to play.
Mm.
So you get to
Priorities.
eat later.
Yeah, priorities.
but
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
lessons in all that
Mm-hmm.
because that teaches opportunity as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you miss an opportunity that was beneficial for you
Mm-hmm.
just because you want to play around and think that the opportunity is always going to be on the
Yep.
table.
Always gonna be there.
That go back to the Michael B. Jordan, Lori Harvey thing. Like she think the opportunity gonna always be on the table.
Yeah.
But it's
Until the table starts getting slimmer and slimmer, and then next thing you know, it looks like a dining room table. Then it goes into a coffee table, and then next thing you know, it's a tray, and that's like, dang, ain't nothing fitting on this table no more. Ain't nothing on this table no more.
Nope.
I gotta get what I can get.
Then they sitting there facing the wall, about to hit the wall. Because all
And
they
that's why I was
remember.
talking about the illusion of there's two illusions. There's an illusion of options and an illusion of opportunity.
yeah.
Because people feel as though they always have options, so they're always going to be opportunities with those options. Until you start to realize, until those options start to get slimmer and slimmer, and you start to see your opportunities also get slimmer and slimmer. But as long as you feel that you have opportunities, then you're just gonna keep wasting time or wasting people or wasting relationships or whatever it is that you're wasting other people's time. Here's my thing: it ain't even about wasting your time. Do what you want to do with your time. But when you start to waste other people's time, when they feel that they're investing time in you, that's when it's a problem. You can do whatever you want to do with your time.
That's why I always say when I see people, like, when I always tell people too, I be like, yo, it only bothers me when I see people do stuff a certain way when they got kids. I be like, I don't care what you do if you ain't got kids, because the only person who will lose could be you. The only thing you can fuck up is you. I don't care what you do, but then it's like when I gotta see you have kids and you do certain stuff, I be like, yo, why you doing it like that? When you know damn well you got these kids and you actually got to be working for something. But if you ain't got them, hey nigga, you can waste as much time as you want to waste because it's just you, dude. If you want to throw your life away, that is perfectly fine because you have the choice to do this. But don't ruin the children. I don't care what the fuck you do with your own life. Just don't ruin no other people in the process.
Yeah, you got responsibilities, man. Handle your responsibilities, man. Like, yeah, stop neglecting things that you brought forth in life. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get that. How cats, have families and don't want to support their families. You know what I mean? Like, I was I had a conversation, and it was about 50-50.
I got something to say on that too, but I'm gonna wait till you finish.
About 50-50?
About the responsibilities.
Oh, about responsibility?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, Kev, I used to always run around and tell men, hey, man, you know what your problem is? You want me to pay bills with you.
Mm-hmm.
How you going to say, I'm king, I got this kingdom, I'm going to take care of a woman, and the way you view life is she got to take care of 50. I never see a king, I never see a king that owns his kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
What's the responsibility of being what you're about? Like, why says, I know where it comes from to a certain degree. It's kind of like the I call it the
social
sports
construct.
Respect. Yeah, it's kind of like the sports respect. Oh, this is my team. You know what I mean? You never played a day on Golden State Warriors, but that's your team. You know what I mean? Like, you feel so connected to the team. You know all the players' history and facts and how many points they scored, assists, you know what they practice look like. But then you can't answer these questions about your children. You know what I'm saying? And I tell people, like, it's the association of what we really know is ours. What is really ours, we'll never take the time to really study. Then like something that is not ours, like a basketball team, right, or a football team, we know all the statistics and facts on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how you know something that's really not yours? How you know everything about that? But something that's really yours, you don't know nothing about it. It's kind of like when people buy something and never read the manuals. Got a car, you didn't know the car had, you could hit the button twice on the door and let the windows down automatically. Had the car for 10 years. Like, I don't get why people never take pride in learning what is theirs. You get what I'm saying? Like, I ain't actually learning nothing outside of your stuff. This is yours. You said this is mine. But how do you know how to work your own stuff? I find a lot of people don't know how to work their own life. Like, you know what I mean? Take pride in your own and learn how to work it. Period.
Hey, I was talking to about 4 older women the other day. I'm talking about women who like latter 50s and early 60s. And because one of the women actually watched my show and she had brought up one of the points we were making, and it was centered around the whole helpmate idea. And I thought the most funniest thing, and it was funny to me because I believe in the no pressure, right? Because I understand. And this is definitely going to come up on Thursday show too, because we're talking about the psychology of marriage. But it was funny because all the women sat there and say, oh, all that heavy push of this woman got to be a helpmate to you and all this other stuff and all this high stuff about you in the lead and all this stuff like that. All the women say, I just want to let y'all know, good luck, young man. Just good luck. And I was like, what do you mean good luck? They was like, listen, y'all can keep trying to push these old ass ideas all you want to, but let's see how far y'all get with it. Because most of the guys who talking like that, them motherfuckers alone. That's what one of the women say. She say, the motherfuckers alone. Because women don't need you in the essence of what y'all believe that women need you. She was like, so good luck. She's like, run with your mentality. Holler at me in 10 years. Let me see what you got with it.
No.
And I just laughed. I was like, hey, I don't disagree with anything that you say. I've been telling these niggas is shooting too far out their league. So I get it, but I'm expound more deeply on that.
No, but she is right. And I always want to tell the man a purpose, right? If you on your purpose, the women ain't gonna be the priority. A lot of men can't fake that, can't take that part.
Can't take that part.
No, they can't take that part because like they need that woman comfort. Sometimes she is his prize, right?
Because let me cut in for a quick second. I'm gonna let you get your point off. A lot of men can't take that part, and a lot of women can't handle not being the priority.
Right.
Yeah, they go both
And that's
ways.
the point. What she was trying to make with Kevin, like women want to be the priority of your life. And this is another thing when it's a fine line between this with me, because it's like to a certain point, I'm always feeling like you want to be God to me. I can't give you that. You want me to worship you. I can't give you that. And a lot of women like when men worship them. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like a lot of men do worship women. You know what I'm saying? Period. Like a lot of men, listen, a lot of men worship women, and it's only a limited few who don't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that will purpose to me will definitely for a man of purpose. He got that, and he ain't worried about women. You know what I mean? You can't like be worried about women and be on your purpose. You know
Well,
why?
you can't be worried about chasing women and trying to get and conform a woman into what you're trying to do. Like it has to be a part of your purpose. You chasing, you running, you getting off of what you doing to go over here and figure out what she doing. It don't matter what she got going on. To be honest, like it don't matter. It don't matter what she want, what she need. None of that matters. What do you need for your life, and will she fit with it? She'll figure it out.
Hey, why do you think people having problems having non-negotiables?
I don't know, but I want to get. I'm gonna get to that.
Accepting people non-negotiables.
I'm gonna get to that in a second because I want to get back to that responsible part real
Yeah.
quick. I think there's parents who are responsible, who take care of their responsibilities, but refuse to be fully responsible. So what I mean is like, yeah, you taking care of your kids, but how many niggas do your kids know? As far as like when I talk about moms, like how many niggas do your kid? Do you not see that as irresponsible? Oh yeah, you taking care of you, making sure they eat, making sure they go to school, making sure they get their clothes. You doing a lot. You taking care of your responsibilities, but are you still irresponsible because you're not being fully responsible? And guys do that same. I mean, you not being fully you living recklessly. Just because you taking care of certain responsibilities don't mean you're responsible. So I just want to get that off. But yeah, it's
Hold
like
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let's not give people credit. Then are people really taking care of responsibilities? Because like if we had to go on like how KJ would break it down, it's the ability to respond, right? So if you ain't responding right, are you really are you really taking care of responsibility? Like I think people think because they're in situations that's a responsibility. I think if you're not responding in a beneficial way, then you're not taking care of responsibility. Because it's about how you respond.
mhm.
It's about the ability to respond, and then you got to degree to that ability, right, of responding. And a lot of people are not responding at a high rate. They're in situations, but their response time is horrible. You know what I mean? The level of getting to a response is horrible. Some people don't even know how to. I've been in plenty of community talking situations with people, and they don't know how to communicate back. They don't know what direction to go in. So if you don't know what direction to go in, how do you know how to respond?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's just how I see it anyway.
I mean, I think when I hear people talk about responsibilities, it's super black and white. I think a lot of times when we take these words, we like using the social factors and we like diving into the ideas of what responsibility is. But a responsibility is simply you handling whatever the obligation is set within for you. I don't believe there's a right or a wrong way to do it. I believe you're either handling it or you're not. I think when people get into rights and wrongs, we start getting into idealistic mentalities. And when it comes to addressing responsibility, I don't agree with that because once again, everybody know me. I'm not the moral guy, so you will miss me every time you try to play a right, wrong, good, positive, negative type of argument. But I think responsibility is just addressing the obligation which is at hand. That's just me.
Yeah, it is. But a lot of people don't even know how to address it. They're confused.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
she's probably stuck. Why a lot
I
of
know
people
you.
stuck? And to me, stuck is not making a decision too. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no such thing as not making a decision to me.
Well,
Like,
making
no,
a decision is the same thing as making a choice. Not making a decision is the same thing as making a choice.
right. So that's why I tell people, like, I seen the stuckness in your response. If you stuck, how are you responding? Like, in a measurable moment, like, you're not moving. And you making a choice. But I was like, is that responsibility? Are you really responding accurately on that point? I mean, I guess so if you want to be stuck. So I mean, that's up to the
So you're saying that if they're taking care of the kids but still living recklessly, then technically they're still responsible?
If the obligation is to take care of the children and they're taking care of the children, then they are responsible.
Gotcha.
Because it's a literacy here. That's why I kept saying that a lot of people, when we start doing this, we start using associative factors to pinpoint an idea of what it is. And then when we start addressing ideas, we get away from the literacy of it. People know I'm a stickler for it. I'm going to always address the literacy of it. So when it comes to responsibility, that means there's an obligation. Either you're meeting the obligation or you're not. That's where your responsibility lies.
I think most people don't live in a literal sense, though.
Oh, no. I'm not speaking for most people. I'm just saying when I address it, I'm addressing it from that manner. Because most people live in a reality. Most people live with their ideas. That's why most people have hardships, even when it comes to these talks about relationships, because everybody lives with these ideas. I think even when we're talking about the helpmate or this help me, stupid idea, personally. But I understand and respect where people come from because you people might walk the biblical path. So I get it when I hear people say it. Personally, I think it's stupid. But I don't step on nobody's toes when they say, yo, I believe in this and I push forward this. Now, if you ask me personally what I think about it, I think it's fucking stupid. But I respect the way niggas want to go about it. I like, because I look at so many actual factors that live within people, and that's not the time we live in today. This whole thing about women being there, help me. Most people are not fit in positions to be maintaining and running these households and all these other stuff like that, because most people are not in the position to be able to do it. So the idea of her being a help me to you makes no sense. Ideally, I get it because you're talking about being able to build and go through all this other stuff like that. But guess what? In actuality, these mentalities are not here. I got to deal with what's right in front of me. I'm not going to deal with where your delusion of where you want to be, when we got a realistic person right here who has to be able to come forward with it. And I think a lot of people destroy real situations with that fantasy. So I think the help meets this shit stupid. And I get where it comes from. It's a biblical thing. But guess what? I ain't no biblical dude. So I don't care about that. And I know a lot of people who don't care about that. So with people who don't care about that, when people talk like that, that means a lot from those type of people. But that don't mean nothing for those of us who don't even rock like that.
But it's not even just about being biblical. It's about what y'all was talking about before about shooting outside of your league. So
and that's what a lot of people do. The ideas.
It's like, people may ask for something that they're not qualified to ask for yet. It's pretty much what you're talking about.
Agreed.
But it's like when you are, then they shouldn't be shamed for asking for it.
Nah,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't believe that at all. I get you. I just noticed that when most people are going into these things, they just selling ideas. But they're selling ideas and then they're making it seem like this is the actual plane. That's why I keep saying actuality versus reality. And sometimes we gotta sit back and realize you just selling a reality, dude. It's not really an actual, because most people ain't living it.
Yeah, but what if they seen it firsthand on how the helpmate situation applies to life?
But that doesn't mean it'd be beneficial for them.
Right. What if they lived up under the umbrella? So most somebody say, I don't think that will work in this modern day times, because how modern day times is. And say, like, I grew up under a certain umbrella. I'm like, well, I had people talking, but the umbrella I live in and I'm in these times, I can still see how that applies. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people, let me put it like this. If you grew up in a family business, you would have a different idea of family work and cooperation than two people who go in two different separate places. I think, you know what I'm saying? Like, some people say, I don't want to work with my partner, right? And they want to come back home. You know what I'm saying? I understand that too. Like, some people don't want to be, they say, I don't want to be around you all day. Some people shit like that. But I think it's depends on how you want to live. If you know you're running your ship a certain type of way, and you need somebody to drive this motherfucking ship, right? And you know you needed a helpmate, you ain't gonna go get somebody who's an anchor and say drive the ship. You got to get the person who qualified for that position, and a helpmate might be the person for that position for that ship. I tell a lot of men, you might not have a ship that requires a helpmate. Let me put it like this: if you ain't got no vision, no business, no none of this, how can you require something that ain't no purpose for? They don't need to help you with nothing.
But I
You
think I
can't.
think Kev's perspective is even the umbrella is a reality.
I was
And
gonna
I think
respond. I
that
was gonna wait for Deuce to have finished.
but it's like you even with I mean, because we're always gonna be at the mercy of somebody else's reality, even though it's like it's what we want, we're always at
And
the
you may
mercy
have
of
seen
somebody
it
else's.
actually in your life. Just because you've seen it actually in your life. Because a quick response I would have gave to that, I'd have been like, yo, I want to play ball. My father's Michael Jordan, right? My father's Michael Jordan. He balls, he's great, he's amazing. And I want to be him, but I could never be that. Even though I live underneath the umbrella, I still cannot be that. That's what comes to my mind when I hear that. So just because you have actually seen it doesn't mean it's still for you, though.
And I can understand that. And you know what? When you said that just now, I was like, dang, you so right. Right? But this the problem. When you Steph Curry and your dad was Dale Curry, now we got a problem. You get what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, I feel people who don't come from that background, but my dad is Dale Curry, and I'm Steph. So when I hear it, I hear the gray area that can be given. I'm
Either
like, oh,
way, either way, whether your father was Dale Curry or Michael Jordan, you still have to kind of step away from underneath that umbrella, though. That's the
no,
point.
I understand. I create my
No.
own.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But it was fundamentals that was taught that apply.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with
that's what
you.
I'm saying. Yeah, that's
I
what I'm
agree
saying.
with you.
Like the umbrella builds the reality that you choose to walk in.
Yes.
And then, it's like, but you're at the mercy of other people's reality until you meet somebody that matches that reality to make it an actuality.
That's exactly where I was going with that.
You know what I'm saying? So I get both. I get what
That's where
y'all
I was
saying
going
though.
with that. Because a lot of time, and that's why I say I address it as ideas, because sometimes when we saying these things, we're addressing it literally from just one side. Like when we like the same thing we go to tell these women that okay, you want this, you want that, you want that, but then what makes this chooses you, right? What make this person want to choose you? It's the same thing on the men's side. You can be all of this and all of this established and all this other stuff like that and want this and have this, but then what will make these women want to step underneath that? Because then we get back into these conversations about vision. But if we want to address evolution for what it is today, everybody is not aligned and joining the vision or your vision.
And you're right
But
about
that's
that. I think we're not taking the time to have a meeting of mind conversations to make sure we're on the same journey. I
mm-hmm.
think
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
caught up in we're in this moment, infatuations,
Mm-hmm.
right? And boom, we solidifying things without future intent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I want to say conscious future intent. I don't know if that might not matter to some people. I don't know if future intent really matters to people. Maybe they only want to live in a moment. I just a person. Look, I'm always in the future. I'm. I can't help but not to think in the future. I invest money. You know what I mean? I'm always. And then when I'm in the now, it's because of what I did in the past that affected this future. And then so that led me into a circle of I don't never really live in the moment not unless I'm doing something in the moment, like a particular action, but lose my thoughts. And most of my actions are for future things. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, and I see people who live in a lot in the now. But I tell people my now was predicated from what I did is my now is predicated on what I did on the past. It was a future thing that came to fruition. So I talk about manifestation because I'm always living in the future and living off of the things I planted before, I sowed before. So I don't never. I'm not momentary like that. You get what I'm saying? It
Yeah,
just
it's like when you were saying the meeting of the minds, like people aren't really meeting of the minds, they just debating their sense of realities. It's like don't if I tell it's no understanding there. if I tell you my sense of reality and then you tell me that mine is wrong, don't debate it with your own sense of reality. Like that's not, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what are we really doing here? What are we debating right now? You're not really telling me anything that would make me see any type of actuality in anything right now. I'm kind of into my beliefs and what I think and what I'm feeling, whatever the case is, and you're going to tell me that that's wrong, but then tell me another reality. Like
Yeah, it's the gray
it's
areas we were talking about earlier. You know what I mean? Like we create gray areas when we already made our decisions. You made your decisions, I made my decisions. While we did it, you know what I mean? We want to go back and forth. It's the gray area. It is already done. You know what I mean? We can debate why somebody did it, but I'd say take the outcome and take the results. They already did it. That was the result, and whatever the outcomes was. But all that gray area stuff, you know what I mean? Like, no matter. It's like, I know we said we're going to bring it up. It's kind of like, bring it up right now. Like, Young Thug and them, right? You might want to pray for your freedom. You might want to talk to the judge and cry and all that. Brother, there's 50 bodies on your count. You dig what I'm saying? There's 50 bodies on the indictment. I can't give you freedom over death. Like, you dig what I'm saying? It's like, it's the gray area here. People want to, look what all the charity he done did. It's 50 bodies on the indictment. It don't matter how much charity he done did.
I don't care what he did. And that's what it's like. Who cares what anybody did?
Yeah, young boy got to take consequences too. He can't just be murdering people. Like he can't be calling hits. Listen here, this is my problem with this whole thing. And people say, D, why you want to support him? Because I can't call a hit. And you're not gonna have rights I can't do. If he can get away with calling hits, I want my rights of calling hits too. You get what I'm saying? So no, he cannot have it. I'm not supporting it because I'm not gonna have the same right. You not know, brother. You got to sit in the jail cell, cuz. You're like, because he can do stuff that I can't do, and we ain't rocking. He got to face the consequences. No, 50 bodies, cuz.
Oh man,
you got to pay for them 50 bodies, cuz. I can't get 50 bodies and be out here. Ain't nowhere in the world you won't get 50 bodies and be out here. Nah, cuz. Get out of here, cuz.
Yeah, that is funny though.
That's funny.
Ain't no way you can have 50 bodies and be out here.
No.
They denied Gunner too, right?
They denied both of them.
And listen here, because they in jail. Why they in jail? Why the cops still searching their stuff? They get more charges. Gunner he been in jail for a whole week. No, actually 2 weeks, right? After 2 weeks, they went searching his stuff, finding more dope and all kind of stuff. Brother, so y'all been telling me, ain't none of y'all people thought to clean up none of y'all stuff while y'all was locked up?
Mm-hmm.
So, no, stupidity. Look, stupidity also is your blissness. Sit your ass in jail.
You see how they had the the local news joint was inside, like going through Thug selling because he was complaining to his lawyer about the living conditions. He was saying how they was inhumane.
Listen here, man.
Man, he going through drug withdrawals. That's why everything inhumane to him.
That's it. He feeling like how they feel when they going through, like what we Kevin said. They in the hospital trying to get the drugs out their system. He's shaking. He crying.
He going through withdrawals.
He's trying to withdrawals, man. Get in there. He mad he can't get into the CO to come sneaking some stuff in there. You know what I mean? Listen here. Did you know you heard this though? Most of his people is telling on him because they're going through withdrawals.
Yeah.
The COs and the other people, like they get information, they give them drugs.
Mm-hmm.
They go on withdrawals.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, this crazy.
That's common. That's common.
And people like, oh, who is snitching? The fiend snitching, nigga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know how many fiends they got in there going through withdrawals over the codeine, the marijuana, the cocaine, and they going through so much in there. Oh, they want to hit so bad. They drug addicts. They telling. There were people say, who's snitching? How many fiends they got in the camp? The whole camp fiends. Look, I heard today, I watched on the news. I watched on YouTube, right? They say Young Thug is feeling so bad, he snitched on himself. You hear me? The man feeling, he started to snitch on himself. Y'all ain't hear me, man.
He don't realize what he's saying.
I believe
Just what you saying.
They snitching just to get. They trying to get some comfort. Their mind messed up, right? They living messed up because they already put that. Their body messed up, bro. There is so much turmoil. They're gonna start doing whatever to try to fix some part of their turmoil or fix one part. Either it's the mental, right? Like, oh, I'm stuck here, but at least I need to get this high. Give me some relief from this high. They want to relief from something. You know what I'm saying? They got too much. They got all this pressure. So like, hey, the drugs is the ultimate thing. That's why they snitching on each other. They gonna listen. The drugs is kicking in jail right now. They snitching on themselves.
I mean, just in general, man. The way my mind works sometimes, because sometimes people try to make or put sensitivity in areas where I don't feel like it should be. So it's like they be like, "Yo, free my nigga such and such." I'm like, "Why? Like, what for? What? What you freeing him for?" I'm kind of like what you said. Like, what you freeing him for? He did what he did. It's black and white. He did what he did, and he gonna sit his ass in the can.
I remember hearing this cat say how tough he was and how he can handle anything. So people like, free my homie. Your homie told me that he was that tough. He can do 5-10 years hands down. Like, nigga, he do that. What? He do that with a blank. You know what I mean? He was talking all that tough. Like jail wasn't nothing. Listen, I heard Young Thug say on an interview with what was the $1 million worth of game, right? How bad he is. He said, before I go I'm gonna get my titties done, and then I'll go back to jail and just have fun with the ladies. He's talking about turning into a whole changing. You know what I mean? He what else? He made a song about what he do to the court and judges and all that, right? You can't be crying and you talking all this stuff. Like, that's why I try to tell you, stop being hard. Stop back. Like, look, there's another thing I hate too. I hate poor drug dealers. I hate to see drug dealers staying with grandma. I say, nigga, why you selling drugs if you staying with grandma? Obviously, the money ain't doing nothing for you. You can't upgrade your life. You can't live better. You ain't got nothing. I hate when cats be, I'm selling drugs and you poor.
Yeah, but won't get a job.
They won't. Listen, they too ignorant to understand what an entrepreneur is. That's my whole thing. If you can sell drugs, I mean, you can sell apples. You can sell. Be a salesman, right? So out of all those years, you never learned how to. You never found something that was more than this. Look, I'm gonna tell people, it's more things that can make you money than drugs. It's things that cost $5 you can sell, $10, $100. I can go sell a painting right now as an NFT. You know what I mean, and build up the community and sell it for $100K.
I mean, the flea market is full of people doing that. I mean, if you don't believe there's no other way, just go to a flea market.
But that's the ignorance of people. You understand this is a selling skill. You got the product can change. If you that slow to understand your product can change, then you got to face the consequences of ignorance. Yeah. When the police come get you, you got to go to jail.
Yeah, but are you really selling when you just giving them what they already want? They just found out that you got it and you just giving it, like you ain't really selling.
That's why you need to go to jail. You need to understand that you should have learned the art of selling. You need to go back. Like, I don't want to say go to jail, but you got to go to some type of institution. School is an institution, right? So you got to go to some institution. And jail, because you bad and you wild, you the big bad man. You got to go to this institution over here. While you in this institution, I hope you pick up some knowledge. That's how it's gonna go. I remember my brother went to jail. One of my brothers went to jail one time. He was big. He thugging. You know what I mean? I'm gangster. Matter of fact, he thought he was about to be ganging, right? He thought he wouldn't be part of the gang. Went to jail. My mama said, go see your brother. I said, for what? I ain't put him in there. Why I gotta go see him there? So, Mr. B, honor the parents, went to see my brother. Eyes big. So, D, what I get now? I said, I don't know. Oh, you thought I had answers? I ain't got no answers. I ain't even talking to your lawyer. You didn't do no research before you did the crime? You don't know how much time comes behind what you just did?
I was just told to come see you, brother.
Yeah, that was it.
I'm just coming back to report.
In jail. Ain't you thugging?
I'm just coming to report.
Just like brother, if you was on the stage, I would have came to your show and root you on. You in jail. I came to jail. Hold it down. Hooting you on. What we talking? I
Mhm.
know what I'm supposed to do. You say, be there for me. I am. But I ain't looking I I ain't got to go talk to your lawyer. You should have been doing all this while you were getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like you should have been understanding what you've been getting into before you get into. Yeah, his eyes get big because they got no answer for him. I said, dang, you in jail and none of these you with the rest of the guys supposed to know what it is. Why you asking me? You didn't want to know nothing on the outside, what I had to say. Ask the niggas who you want to hang around with. They ain't here with you. They got the answers. Ask these guys. Because when I was telling you free stuff on the outside, right, you couldn't hear me. Talk to people who you can hear. Don't talk to me now.
Mhm.
It might sound harsh, but I bet you if you get out, it's like, oh, I guess you want to listen to this freedom talk. Because I don't really got this institutional jailbird talk. I don't know how to talk that. You
But
go
that's
talk
what
to
I was
niggas
talking
on that
about.
level.
That's what I was talking about when you just said, "I know it sound harsh," and I'm like, "No, it's just the reality." It's like it's. That's why I was saying people add sensitivity in places it shouldn't be there. Like they don't sound harsh. Like if somebody like, yo, this person just died, man, rest in peace. I'm like, for what? I ain't saying rest in peace. For what? His life wasn't peaceful. He was wreaking havoc everywhere. Yo, you gotta be more sensitive than that. No, I don't. No, I don't.
Yeah.
Yo,
You know
rest in heaven. No, he ain't go to heaven. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, he didn't go.
You know what's funny? That people, I mean, I know people not gonna like this, but I was just watching before we got on. I was watching a little one of the little documentaries called Poison on Hulu. Where they talking about the fentanyl joint, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, old girl was laughing at me because the whole time I'm sitting here, I'm like, and all these interviews, and I'm hearing people talking, and they talking about like the fentanyl, and the overdosing, and I'm like, okay, I got sympathy for the people who came across this like they was in an accident or something, and they got on their oxycontin or their Percocets, as far as pain medication, and then they got addicted. But the majority of the people who was answering was niggas who was already heroin addicts, and I was like, what the fuck? I don't feel bad for the nigga who was already a heroin addict. I was like, it's not. I was like, I get it, the fentanyl killing you quicker, but I don't have a sympathy for the heroin addict. Like, it ain't like you doing anything much better. You just taking a smidgen of a slower route.
Yeah, opioid is an opioid, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, yo, I don't feel no way for this. This is stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it be getting me sometimes. Like you're not being compassionate or being sensitive. You're being insensitive. I'm like, not really. I mean, that's what your mother and your sister and all the women taught you because they told you to put feelings before principle. No,
Man,
I'm
the
not doing
only
it.
way, only people I'm feeling that way about, tell you the truth, man, is the babies. They don't know.
They don't know.
If
I agree.
if you call yourself grown, like especially when you get a teenager, I'm grown now, right? You get teenagers, you're gonna call yourself
Mm-hmm.
grown. If you got the audacity to call yourself grown, then I think you should live with a grown life, grown responses. You should live how grown people gonna live. Grown people gonna say, "Listen here, you ain't the first person who went through it. Nor you gonna be the last. So we ain't want to hear it." That's what grown people say. Like the phrase is, "How you doing today?" And people say, "I got nothing to complain about." Good, because we don't want to hear it. If
Mm-hmm.
you did what I'm saying, because we all got stuff to complain about. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the grown response because we all know. I mean, I tell people if you want to take on certain titles that you entitled yourself with, you know what I mean, then you got to live up to those consequences, and you go live up to the rewards too that comes with them when you look at those, that role that you give yourself. You get both sides of the coin. You
Kids,
get one side of the coin.
kid, kids get a culture shock sometimes when they actually end up in adult situations and then realize that they're not as entitled as they thought they were. It's like when I was at work, right? This young guy was telling me about, what he was going through. And he was late. He always late to work all the time, telling me about what he was going through. And I was like, be honest with you, bro, I don't care. I don't care. He's
Yeah.
like, what? Like, I don't care. Are you gonna be here on time or not? That's all that matters right now. Nobody care about what you got going on. Who cares about your life and what you got going on outside of here? You came here, so either you're gonna do it or you're not. And I think that a lot of kids don't understand the harshness of life. Like nobody care about what you got going on. Either you're gonna do something or you're not. That's it. You made a commitment. Either you're gonna follow through with the commitment or you're not. If you can't, get off the boat. But they're taught that they can excuse their way through life. Like I can make excuses and somebody show some compassion and sympathy and maybe can put me on or maybe can tell me this or maybe they can,
I tried. So somebody should acknowledge my trying and push me along. It's like when people get in school, you ain't like, who said it earlier? It was one of said it earlier about school, right? But didn't want to push my kid along. You know what I mean? Everybody think they should be pushed along in life. And I said, nobody ain't supposed to pick up your wheelbarrow, man. I know everybody wants somebody else to come push their wheelbarrow of life. This is your wheelbarrow. You got to take this to the finish line. And everybody's like, oh, come take one in. No, this is your wheelbarrow. You got to carry these burdens or whatever you want to put in this wheelbarrow. This is your life. You got to take it to the end. Ain't nobody supposed to push your wheel. Look, I'm putting like this. Depending on the circumstances, most 9 times out of 10, you're going to die alone. Period. So stop thinking people are going to live your life. I'll help you with your life. You need to make decisions on what you want to do with your life and live it. And
stop assuming people even going to bury your casket.
Man, listen, stop assuming you're going to be buried.
Yeah, that is an assumption there too.
Yeah, that's an assumption too.
Even be buried.
You know,
you might throw your ashes in the water like old girl did. It was some girl that threw her boyfriend's mother's ashes in the water because he cheated on her. I'm like, dang man, I know she ain't see that coming.
Look, this is what I told my mom.
I know she ain't think her body was gonna be used like that after death.
Yeah, people be having things you got to carry out after death. You dead. You know what I mean? None of that matters. You know what I mean? People be arguing about death, money, and you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, listen, they're dead, yo. Y'all tripping, like, you know what I mean? I just see it too. Like, yo, stop acting like you got to affect. Look, if you ain't did nothing while you was living, don't expect to have no effect on nobody while you're dead. You dig personally. So I tell people like, yo, and I ain't talking about when you die, they crying. I'm talking about like having a personal effect. Most people ain't doing nothing while they're living, but they got all these demands of when they die. Treat me like this, do this, do this. I'm like, how the hell? You ain't did nothing when you was alive. Like, let me put it like this. Like my uncle, like, love him to death. You know what I mean? Well, shit, I did love him to death. He died. You know what I mean? But it was like, yo, man, you ain't really did much. You ain't really got no say so on how you go away. How we put you away. It's about whatever.
I mean, I honor it with whatever money you left behind if we can do it with the money that you left. But outside of that, no.
Yeah. If we do
you left this money behind, you telling me I honor that kind of like, okay, I mean, it's your money.
Yeah, but black community be broke. They do GoFundMe.
Ain't no money. Ain't no money.
You know what I'm saying? And then they do GoFundMe for funerals. And the people who are the most ignorant have, listen here, bro. They be having dead people on motorcycles in a box to parade around the world like they the Pope. Like, I lost, man. You know what I mean? We got this extremeness of people being broke and then and can't bury their people. And then we got extremeness with people doing outrageous things with the dead. Yo, reality and how we live is very discombobulated and confused. People are confused, man. The moral of the day is basically ignorance is very blissful. And
confusion is blissful.
All this is bliss. This is what we're trying to say, period. All this is bliss. Unless you're going to educate yourself to have a knowing life, even what you know ain't every in all be all. You know what I mean? Like, all of us got information. Just because we know something don't mean we got an in all be all. And we see a lot of people walk around here with the in all be all. I'm like, nah, you ain't got the in all be all. And you barely got the basics. So like you can go out here and make wall decisions and think you got enough time that you don't have to pay no attention to time. And as far as with that's coming with the women and they clock and they walls. Hey, true. Men, you think you got enough time to get your life together? These women, let me put this to these men too when we talk about this time. Men, women has a time clock, right? So if you ain't ready by the time their time is ticking to, that means you expiring too, cuz. Because you got to get certain things prepared before they hit the clock. So you need to think about that too. She's on the clock, and really, you're going to have to participate and play the game according to her clock. Because if you wait too late, then you out of time too. So focus on be prepared. Responsibility is the ability to respond. So respond correctly.
Yeah, it was something else that you said that you had to say, right? At the beginning, well, before the show.
Oh well, yeah, we're gonna dive into some money talk, but we didn't even want to talk about money talk right now today. Only because like it kind of like go back to the whole thing of not knowing how far your dollars can go, not to mind. Like you too busy worrying about trying to get it. Let me put it like this: next year period, I will have a certain house bill. The amount of money I'm about to pay for this house, I'm gonna have a mansion over there, 7,000 square feet,
Mm-hmm.
living very good, travel back and forth, right? Now, so people who stuck in a place wouldn't understand why I would go over there and build that. And then when I go over there and build it, I'm going to get game because this is I ain't gonna give too much of this game out. You're gonna have to get on the Patreon and you're gonna be into our private societies and the groups and stuff. Look, I go over there, just get a quick game. Dang. Well, I don't usually just give out a lot of game. I give out something. I go to another country, my dollar is worth more. So I maximize it, buy real estate over there, turn around. The dollar is going down, which means the other currencies is getting worth more, right? Currencies go up, I refinance it and take out the same amount of money that we're over here to refinance things over here or buy more property. It's also about equity too that people don't even see or playing a real estate game in other countries. And people are like, look, man, I can take less money I make over here, cheap, go to another country, build something, get equity out of it. Because I know what the dollar is doing. Dollar is going down, which means we're seeing inflation in things, right? Inflation in things going up. So that means the value and the cost of things going up, which means I get to sell it more and do more with it. Take the money. People don't see that though. It's inflation. Inflation is global. It ain't just in your state or your town or country. You know what I mean? It's global. So it just money plays. And that was something I want to give the community. You know what I mean? But as we was talking, it's like, yo, we got more responsibility to handle first before we can't think about, you know what I mean, $1,000 in a different way. Yeah, I know we and think about how we operating right here in our own town. I know we ain't thinking about broadening our horizons. You know what I mean? Most people got too many whys. And you know what I mean? Or why should? And my whole thing is sometimes it's like you might need to ask yourself why not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It might not be, you know what I mean, that you plan just to do something because like let me put it like this. Like I talk about Africa. A lot of people think Africa is what they see on TV. They see the don't get me wrong, they see the clay, right? The huts, right? But I'm like, dang, y'all don't see none of the mansions. Y'all don't see the apartments. Y'all don't see the condos. Y'all don't see none of this. Y'all think they just got flies on their face and big ass plate in their mouth.
Man, a lot of them joints look just like New York City.
Yeah, and I tell people, you got see your mentality, your broader view ain't wide enough.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell other people, if you go to certain places in the world, you will see blackness all over. But I'm like, like, listen, American society is very racist in the TV and everything. I can prove it. If you go outside the country, things can change drastically. But people gonna feed you an image that is not real, and most people got these false images. And my whole thing was like, I want to talk about, you know, outside of the country. Can you get value outside the country? Have you ever thought about building up value, equity, worth, passive incomes outside of what you normally know? Thinking bigger. You know what I mean? And actually deliver
Patreon,
the product to certain people that would respond to it.
Patreon exclusive. So come to the Patreon, get the knowledge, get the base, get the information, the breakdown, everything. Go have the Patreon up.
Oh yeah, get the knowledge. Understand? We talk about real estate. We talk about crypto. We talk about um, just business investing. Like right now, like a lot of people. Look, I'm going to throw this out here on something to say. A lot of people got happy about the Amazon split. I'm like, why are you getting happy about something that just got denominated more?
Mm-hmm.
All they did was kill the liquidity. All they did was build up liquidity in there so people can buy something at
a lower price.
Right, but they ain't giving you more.
Right, that's what the split is. Yeah.
Right, so it's like you really just able to buy a fractional thing. I'm like, yo, you could have been bought fractional things before they did that. When a company announced something like that, that means they about to pull some rugs out. Which means they about to pull some money out, and they about to use the retail to get the investor money back out. Now, I know that most people don't understand stock splits, but the stock splits was before the investors to be able to get out by letting the retail buy the investors invest stocks. So it's always the long-term holders selling to the new people, so they can get out. They understand what certain things. Sometimes a stock split, it ain't no good thing. And anytime you see a 20-1 stock split like what they did, it's not a good thing. It was a 20-1, which means the investors are pulling out, which means that company is trying to build up reserves, and you about to see that stock drop, and then you'll see the investors buy the dip. So I tell, oh, this ain't no but hoax. It's 20-1. Recession coming. They know what they're doing. Period. Amazon know what they're doing. Recession coming. So that just not but recession move right there. That stock split. But hey, try to tell people, but they ain't.
Yeah, man. So I ain't got nothing else to say right now.
Right? I got a lot to say, but it's for later. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Kia, what you got? What you got, man?
I mean, I got a lot to say about many different things, but I think we can conclude this one.
That's right.
All right. Well, let the people know what's happening Thursday.
Oh man, so on the Humble Beginnings show this Thursday, we're gonna definitely dive into it. We're gonna get into the psychology of marriage. So I'm gonna
you want to
have
be on that show?
if you wanted to dive onto it.
Oh man, I might have to. Yeah, I might. Have
Yeah,
to
like I said, because I think when we get into the psychology, I think a lot of people get caught up in a lot of the overviews and certain stuff. But I think that this psychology, this psyche, begins before we even get to the marriage. So it's one of them things we're gonna definitely dive into and break it down.
Yeah,
no doubt. For me, everybody know, got a little show coming up this Sunday. So we're gonna be out there hitting the road up, hitting the stage up, Artist CEO Experience. Kevin Clemens, KJ Deuce 47 on stage, bringing Artist CEO Experience to the stage this weekend. That's what we got going on.
in where? In Sumter, South Carolina.
Sumter, South Carolina. It's an honorary show for people who already did things in the community, who have proven and done things, and we just here to confirm it because it's already been done. Yeah, I hope everybody, because we talking about confirmations. You know what I mean? So we confirming things that are already done and giving them honor for it. So we do that thing. We do things like that in the community. We make sure we help build up people, give them their flowers. I guess it's the new saying, say why they still alive now. But we honor people all the time, and hopefully the visionaries will do accomplishments as we go along our journey, and we spread all our light and everything. We get to honor all y'all too. So let us know all y'all accomplishments, who doing good things in society. You know what I mean? So we can shout them out and show them love so they can keep motivated because we all need motivation.
Yeah. Yeah, but I got something to say. You got something to say. We all got something to say. And right now, we ain't got nothing else to say. So we going to talk to y'all on the flip side. See y'all later. Peace out.